Deputy Lawless.
Thank you, Chair, and firstly, very welcome in to talk about this very important topic. Firstly, I want to bring you through some of products that are in the shelves at the moment in Ireland. Okay, first one here, broccoli from Tesco. No reference code. It's that the origin is from Ireland and Spain. Second item here, carrots. Origin Scotland in the packaging, and on the shelf it says super value Irish carrots. Next item is advertising in bold Irish flavour, outlines tomato ketchup, and it says ingredients from EU and outside the EU. Next one then, we have a picture here of Aldi with a big Irish flag saying proudly supporting Irish farmers, and none of the produce underneath that particular flag is Irish. Next one here, we have celery. We have origin Spain, and on the shelf we have Irish celery. We have honey here, and I'm a beekeeper myself. I know how difficult it is to produce honey. The honey is about €3, and it says a blend of EU and non-EU honey. And I think the most egregious one is just off the shelves. It says super value Irish herbs, Thai-style curry. It's proudly pictured an Irish farmer here from North Dublin, Mr. Flynn, with a lovely smile on his face. And you look at the origin, and it says Kenya and Spain. So, and this is just a very quick scan of what's happening today. And I could go through, and my time is very short, but there is a litany of food labelling, basically abuse, is what's happening. Let's call it what it is. And this question is for all of you. How is this happening? And what sanctions are in place for these retailers? What is the level of inspection? What is the level of penalties that are happening? Because it is totally unfair to allow mislabeling to happen for busy consumers who don't have time to scrutinise labelling on the one hand, and then on the other hand, there are Irish farmers who are basically subject to really tight regulation, who are doing things by the book, by Bord Bia standard in some cases, by Irish regulation and department inspection standards in other cases. And then you bring in product, you essentially allow it to be mislabelled, and that product would never satisfy any Irish regulation. So how can it happen? And what are we doing wrong? Because we are doing something wrong. There is an issue with legislation, enforcement, and I want this committee, and I want us to get to the bottom of this today. So what's your thoughts? How do we address this?
Thank you, Deputy. There was quite a few examples there, and different examples. Some of them, from what I heard there, did suggest non-compliance. Others might not actually be non-compliant. We'd have to go through each of them. We will follow up on them, but I think it might be useful. Michelle is just going to talk through how we would follow up on these examples. And then you mentioned honey specifically, and if we have time, maybe Michal can talk to the honey.
That's fine. I'm happy to follow up with you on the individual cases. But in general, how many inspections are happening? How many enforcement orders have been issued? How many cases of mislabeling have you discovered in the past year, 2 years, 3 years? And what are the penalties for a first offence, second offence, third offence?
I'll let Michelle talk through that, including the numbers and the follow-up.
Yeah, so I think we've already said, Deputy, we don't have figures with us today for the number of cases that are being investigated at this time. We've outlined that around 6,500, 7,000 labelling checks were done by the National Environmental Health Service of the HSE last year, and about 1,000 of those were not found to be non-compliant. And we've discussed how the action taken in response to that non-compliance depends on the level of the non-compliance. So usually these labelling checks may be done as part of other wider inspections that inspectors are undertaking at the time. Most inspections, depending on the level of non-compliance, food business operators will be given an opportunity to remedy the non-compliance within a very short period of time. There may not be a need for formal enforcement action on the day, or they may be revisited by the inspector within a short period of time to verify that they've come into compliance.
Is there a penalty? Like how? Like, is there a penalty for retailers?
So there might be penalties depending on the severity of the
non-compliance. Can you outline today what is, like, so I appreciate you give them a chance to remedy, right?
Yeah.
And next week you come back and you find other products mislabeled. I just want to get a sense, what is that procedure? What are the penalty structures in place?
Yeah, so there is offences set down in law under the various SIs that are enforced by both the NEHS, the National Environmental Health Service, and the Department of Agriculture.
How many enforcement orders have happened in the last 3 years?
So we'll check those figures and we'll get them to you before the end of, before we finish speaking.
Is it 50, 100?
I don't have the figures right here right now, but I will say that those labelling non-compliances that are referred to are generally followed up on the spot. They're brought to the attention of the food business operator whose job it is to remedy the non-compliance. They're usually of lower significance than other breaches of legislation of food safety, and the food business operator is given a chance to come into compliance. The specific examples you raise about the examples where the sign above says one thing and the shelf ticker says something else in relation to origin, those are matters that the retailer is responsible for the display there. We have a retail forum and we raise issues like this and can raise issues like this with the retailers in that forum.
To be honest, I'm very disappointed by your answer. You are the authority that is responsible for this. You are, like, basically, there are farmers across Ireland that are looking at, like what is happening. And the fact that, it appears there are no significant repercussions, or it's not even a slap on the wrist, it's sort that out and, away you go. That is very concerning. And I would like to know as well, the farmer that had his picture on the package, was he compensated? Did he get an apology from Bord Bia? What was the outcome there?
If I might just respond to the
Okay, can I go on? And this question, can you, and this is for the department primarily, can you guarantee that meat sold as Irish is genuinely Irish, and that the traces system is not being used or potentially abused to pass off imported animals as Irish? 3.7 million live sheep were imported into Ireland over the past 9 years. We only exported 200,000 live sheep during that period. So what became of the other 3.5 million sheep or lambs? It would not have been possible to consume all the meat ourselves. We also know that well over €500,000 worth of sheep was exported from Ireland since that time in 2015, which was all categorised as Irish. It was exported to other EU countries and China. So, my question is to you, the numbers, there's clearly an anomaly. Is it the case that Irish beef is being imported and being exported as Irish meat?
Sorry, Deputy, thank you for the question there. You've asked a number of different pieces, so we were in today to discuss beef labelling in particular, and just to talk you through what are required, and then I can ask Jared to comment on what we inspect on. So again, what you are required to place on the package of origin, because I think the question has been raised, is the member state or a third country of birth. Member states or third countries where fattening took place, or member state or third country where slaughter took place. And then in the same member state, if you can't give that to, say, animals where beef is derived from animals born, raised and slaughtered in the member state, the indication may be given as origin member state, or in the same for a third country, the indication may be given as origin name of third country, in this case we'll say non-EU markets. The data you referred to on sheep, I think it was, you've asked for the anomaly in the figures. But I'm not getting what the anomaly is you're referring to. You might just outline that in more detail to me, please.
Well, can you guarantee
can
that
you
the
forward
traces,
the
I can
details to
forward
her?
it on, but just in the general sense, can you guarantee as a department that Irish...
Is this on the sheep meat question you're asking?
This is sheep and beef, that Irish meat is genuinely Irish and the traces system, and when I mean genuinely Irish, I mean from origin, and that the traces system is not being used or abused in relation to that?
Well, the European regulations and the Irish regulations require you to list the information I've just read out.
But I haven't asked you about I'm asking you, can you...
No, I'm answering the question to you. You're required to state that identity on it. So I think the figures you're referring to are probably the figures from the Central Statistics Office.
You're following a PQ that I submitted last week.
Yeah. So those figures record the data that I've just outlined to you.
If you forward the detail, we can put it to, we can get it in a written format after anyway. I need to move on to Deputy Fitzmaurice.